Hello and welcome back to the Dragons channel and to another tactics video. So today I want to talk about the 4 key principles of tag rugby. So these are the 4 things that at every level should always be aimed for, should always be something that your team is thinking about, you as a player should be thinking about and trying to achieve. If you stick to these 4 principles, your team will generally be doing the right thing and going in the right direction. So the first of the key principles I want to talk about is spacing the field. So on screen here, what you can see is greener in attack, redder in defence. Here what we've got is green is attacking quite narrowly. So it's quite easy for the red players to number up and defend. Now, spacing the field means that we use all of the whole width of the pitch, so making sure that we are as wide as possible here. Now, there's a number of reasons why we do this. It puts a bit of doubt into these wider players because now who are they marking? What's going on here? Look at the space that there is that could potentially be attacked. So ideally what happens is you kind of end up getting the red defenders to space out a little bit more, and you see when you do this you actually increase the space between each defender. Now the reason why this is so good is because for 2 reasons. Is that if there's more space in between each defender, you can kind of drag players and you can create holes in the middle, or you could just kick. So if they're really wide, if they literally go man on here and they're defending like this, then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gaps to attack essentially. It means these guys are disconnected, so if this player is running here, it's harder for this person. They've got a bit further to go to make that tag. So spacing the field is really important for pulling the defence apart. Okay, so this brings me on to the second key principle. Now, if you space the field in attack, if you then space the field in defence, as I said before, that can be really dangerous because you've got a lot of spaces in between defenders. And it makes it really easy for attackers to exploit this space. You know, you could drag people along like this, and there's just massive gaps everywhere. Really hard to defend when there's gaps everywhere. So the second key principle is compress the defence like this. Now this seems pretty exaggerated, but it's actually really useful because what happens here is that there's only 2 gaps that the attackers can attack, so you know exactly where they are. So there's a space here and there's a space here, and if this ball goes across here, then you know that they're trying to get these links and wings to go into this space, and that means there's only one place that they can attack. They can't get through here, there's no space to go through here, they can only go this way. So as a defensive unit, you can just drift. There you go. If the link has the ball here, nowhere to go. Now it looks like there's half a pitch here that is unprotected, which is correct, but not many people at many levels have a triple, quadruple miss pass in their locker to be able to throw this pass all the way to this rover here and exploit that space. Very, very difficult. Very few people have that in their locker. That's a much harder skill to execute, or even if they pass it down the hands. By the time they pass it down the hands, because it's quite slow, by the time they get there, everyone can just drift across. So key principle number 2 is compressing the defence, because it's easier to defend the sides, the 2 gaps either side of the defence, than it is to defend all of the gaps in between each defender. It also means that if a defender misses a tag, you've actually got 2 players that are not that far away to make follow-up tags, and if everyone just squeezes in, it's not like another attacker can then get an offload and get through that easily either. So it's better for missing tags and controlling where the attack attacks. Key principle number 3 is covering the backfield. So in tag rugby you can kick, as if I'm sure you're aware, if you're watching this video you're probably a tag rugby player, and so that means that at the moment with this defensive setup there is an awful lot of space in here that is undefended. Now I've made another video about how you might want to do that. So you could either do it as a pendulum, so with the two wingers kind of dropping back and sort of swinging around, or you could do it as a permanent sweeper and just have one person who goes back and forth. It doesn't really matter which way, as long as you decide which way you're going to do it and your whole team knows exactly what you're doing and who's doing it. But as a key principle, you should always have someone or some system in place for your team that everyone knows to defend against kicks. This is particularly important at higher levels, when you've got kicks to 50-10s, or even the bonus box being a thing, because if you get a short kick and you've got no one defending the bonus box, then you're going to be in a bit of trouble. Okay, key principle number 4 probably needs its own video to get into the details of it, but essentially it's go forward is the basic principle, but specifically go forward when you're exiting. So exiting means when you're in your own half, so you're in attack and you're by your own try line. So let's say the Reds have just finished, they've got to tag 6 or whatever, they've knocked it on, turnover, and now you're in your own half. You need to get out of your own half and as far down the pitch as possible. So the most effective way of that to do that is to go forward. If you start running around sideways in your own half here, you're not really going to make so much progress. And the last thing you want to do is, if we fast forward, let's say tag 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, turnover, and the Reds get an attacking opportunity here, so they get a new set of 6 here. They don't have to exit because they're not in their own half, they're already in your half, and now they get 6 tags to try and score. So it's really important that when you are exiting from your own half, you are doing everything you can to get this ball as deep into their half as possible, because they need to be onside, they're 7 meters back. If we run sideways and they come and make a tag here, we've made a net gain of, let's have a look, 0 meters. But if we get the ball and we instead run forward and we get tagged here, we've made a gain of 5 meters. And if we make a net gain of 5 meters every single tag, we will end up getting down here. If you can make 5 to 7 meters every tag from the previous ruck, you'll end up in their half, and that's good. You may not score, but you're in their half. When they get the ball, so let's say the turnover is here, they now have to attack from deep in their own half, and it's much, much harder to score a try if you are further away from the try line. It kind of sounds obvious, but I think a lot of people sort of forget that and don't think about that, and is why kicking is so important. So if you're not kicking for territory, then you should probably think about that, because that is part of going forward. Cool, okay, that's it from me really. Bit of a short and sweet one, sort of trying to keep it punchy to the point. Yeah, so if you're enjoying these videos, then please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.